people that are waiting. Okay? All right. Good day, everyone. We want to welcome you to today's NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship second round pregame press conference from Austin, Texas. This first press conference of the day is going to feature number 1 seed University of Texas. Longhorns advanced to the second round with a 105-61 victory over William and Mary last night. They carry a 32-3 record into the second round game, where they will face number 8 seed Illinois tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central. For those of you that are joining us in person, welcome, and those of you that are joining us via Zoom, welcome as well. The format of today's press conference is that we will hear from the student athletes first for 15 minutes, then they'll be dismissed, and then we'll hear from Texas head coach Vic Schaefer. The Texas players who will be joining us today are a trio of guards, senior Shay Hawley and freshman Jordan Lee and Brianna Preston. We will be beginning the press conference in a few minutes, and just a reminder for those people who are here, there will be an open locker room, media access for the media from 1:25 to 1:55 as soon as this press conference starts. You can go down to the Texas locker room until 1:55. Thank you. Here they are.
Hello.
Welcome, ladies. Welcome.
Hi.
We want to welcome you back to today's NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship second round pregame press conference from Austin. And with us from the number 1 seed University of Texas, we are joined by a trio of guards, senior Shay Hawley, freshman Jordan Lee, and Brianna Preston. Ladies, welcome. And the format of this is we will take questions from you first from the folks here assembled in Austin, and then those people who are joining us on Zoom, if you wish to ask a question, please use the raised hand function, and I'll be happy to call on you. But right now, congratulations, of course, on the win last night, and we'll start off with a question here. Just please state your name and affiliation.
Hey, Sam Ferris, fan-sided. Shay, tomorrow's your last game in the Moody Center. Can you talk about your career here alongside Vic and everyone else?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a weird feeling. Obviously been here for a long time. It'll be really special, bittersweet for sure. But yeah, I mean, this team means so much to me, just this staff. Being here for 5 years, like I've really seen them grow and they've seen me grow, obviously. So yeah, I'll definitely be reflecting on a lot, but it'll be a weird feeling.
Lindsay Plotkin, Longhorns on SI. For Jordan and Bree, how are you able to learn from a veteran like Shay in situations like this and in the NCAA tournament? And how have the rest of the veterans on the team helped you?
I definitely think my favorite thing is see how they take what Coach Schaefer's messages are and seeing how they react and respond and communicate with one another. I think lets us know what we need to do better and how we perceive his messages in particular.
I'd say leadership and accountability. They just given us everything we need to know, and we just take it and be coachable in a way to our vets, and we go out there and do what we need to do as freshmen to ultimately win a national championship.
Anna Ambrose from the Daily Texan. Coach Schaefer has now called all three of you guys Energizer Bunnies for the team. Why is that important to you guys to bring energy?
I mean, it's just one of those special non-negotiables that we kind of talk about, controlling the things that you can't control, and energy is one of those things that you could bring regardless of how you're performing. So us being able to do that is something that we take a large amount of pride in, and especially now that he's acknowledged that, it's something that we're going to continue to maintain throughout the tournament.
Yeah, I think to add on to that, Coach always says, like, if your shot's not falling, like, help me win another way. And obviously all of us want our shots to fall, but I think, like Jordan said, like, it is a non-negotiable for us three. I think in particular, like, we want to bring that all the time and want to know, like, we want Coach to know that he's going to get that out of us every single night. Maybe if our shot's not falling or not, he knows he has that at least.
Yeah, I think it's a great momentum shift, especially when we're like down or don't start the way we want to, and then we can just bring that energy and pick it right back up.
Joe Vizelli from the Champaign News-Gazette. For any of the players, just what's your impression and what you've seen from Illinois just in preparing for this matchup?
Yeah, they're very talented. They have three really, really good guards. They're going to ball screen a lot, so we'll be working on that. We just watched some film on them, but definitely well coached, and they flow really well on offense, I would say. So we're going to definitely need to lock in on the defensive end.
Yes, like Shay said, great ball screening team and can score at all three levels. So we're definitely going to need to show our chemistry defensively and how we communicate.
And they all can shoot really well, so I think we should run them off the line as much as we can. So, yeah.
Do we have any other questions here in Austin? Hearing none right this moment. Again, if you're joining us, thank you for joining us on Zoom. I see there's some folks here. If you do have a question for the Texas players, please use the raised hand function at this time, and I'll call on you. All right, there's silence from Zoom, which is always sometimes nice. Are there any other questions from anyone here in the media here in Austin? All right, seeing none, ladies, congratulations again, and we'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
A reminder that the Texas locker room is open until 1:55. Again, the Texas locker room will be open until 1:55 if you do want to go and interview any of the players or any of the players that were on the podium right now. And as a reminder, Coach Schaefer will be joining us. He will be joining us at 1:45. So he will be joining us. I'm sorry, he will be joining us. Yeah, he will be joining us for 1:45 to 2 for his remarks. We want to welcome everyone to today's second portion of our NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship second round pregame press conference featuring the University of Texas from Austin. Earlier, we heard from the Texas players, and in a few moments, we will welcome Texas head coach Vic Schaefer to the podium. For those media members here assembled in Austin, a reminder that the open locker room for Texas the locker room will close to the media at 1:55. So you have a few minutes if you wish to visit with Texas players in the locker room. Again, Texas coming off a 105-61 victory over William and Mary last night will carry a record of 32-3 into the second round game tomorrow against number 8 seed Illinois. That game will be played at 1 p.m. Central here at the Moody Center in Austin. A reminder for those folks who are joining us virtually, thank you. And if you do have a question and you'd like to ask it, please use the raised hand function, and I will call on you when we see the raised hands function. We will start with questions here in Austin, and then we'll go to questions if there are any for those of you who are joining us on Zoom. Thank you. We're just going to stand by for a few moments and wait for the arrival of Coach Schaefer. Welcomed here by head coach Vic Schaefer of Texas. Coach, obviously we've heard from you players a few moments ago, and we'd like to have you make an opening statement, and then we'll turn the questions over to the media.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Excited about an opportunity to play in the second round of the NCAA tournament with this team. Going to have to, obviously, again, want to give credit to William and Mary. I thought they were really special yesterday, and those kids, their coach, congratulate them again on a great season. And then for us, again, I think we had some rust to knock off, and we knocked some off on offense and still got some on defense. So hopefully we can continue to work and get better. We're better because we're going to play a really good Illinois team. They have, when you watch film on them, I mean, they've got some really special guards. Obviously, Bostic inside is very special. Shauna does a great job with them. I can remember when Calamity was here, how fondly she spoke of Shauna and what a great coach she is and what a tremendous person she is. So, and I think that's very evident in their team and how they play. They're, you can't get caught up. You can look at wins and losses, and they've had some great wins, and then they've been in every game that they might have not won. But again, playing, USC, UCLA, being in those games, you just really, when you watch the film on them, you have a great deal of admiration and respect for them. So their guard play is outstanding. Their post play is really good, and so and they do a great job of putting them in the right position in the right place. So we're going to have to really play better defensively, and then on offense, I was pleased at some things we did yesterday, especially inside and in transition. But again, part of our statistics that we have sometimes is I give them a hard time and we joke about it, but in reality, it's true. We're padding our own stats sometimes by some of the little easy shots we miss, and then we go get a rebound following it, which you want, and you want to follow. You want to follow your misses and stay after it and be aggressive. So, for us, I think our kids, I don't know what they said when they came in here, but I'm confident they probably said, "Hey, we got to be better," and so I think that was the prevailing message in the locker room last night from them. I let them write on the board the good and the bad, and I think that was their prevailing message last night in the locker room. They knew they needed to be better. And again, y'all, you can get real caught up and tied up in, oh my gosh, Vic, you won by 40. You know, what could possibly be wrong or your concern? And my players know, we have a saying around here: if you're supposed to win by 60, win by 60. If you're supposed to win by 40, win by 40. And, you know, I think, no disrespect to William and Mary, but giving up 61 points, you know, we just weren't quite as sharp defensively as we have been. And now offensively, you score 105 points, I don't care who you're playing against. That's pretty good. And I was proud of our offensive execution. Thought we got great looks, and we had a lot of kids shoot 50% or better. And so, but, you know, there's things to clean up, and when you're chasing something bigger than just a first-round game, you have to acknowledge that, be accountable for it. Again, I think everybody in the room knows my passion for what I do and how I do it, and I'm passionate about these kids. I want them to reach their full potential, and, you know, if you're a good coach or if this is what you do, you can't worry about, you know, making somebody uncomfortable. I mean, that's how you reach your full potential. You know, it's not about hurting somebody's feelings. It's about letting them know there's something bigger for them, and they can get much better. But to do that, you've got to point out the good and the bad. And so, I think that's where this team is. You know, again, giving God the glory for 32 wins and this special group. This is a special group, and I think that's why when you go through a game like last night and you see some of the things that we were inferior at, you know, you want so much more for them. And so to do my job, I've got to point that out and hold them accountable.
Thank you, Coach. We'll start with questions second row. Name and affiliation, please.
Vic, Joe Vazelli from the Champaign News-Gazette. Just when you're playing a team like Illinois that's coming in as an underdog, what's the challenge of that? And you know, a team that kind of maybe has nothing to lose, they're coming into your home building.
Well, again, it wouldn't matter where I was playing them or, you know, home or away. I just think you have to respect the team, respect the coaching staff, and realize that they're really good. You know, again, they've been in every game. You look at the course of an 18, 20 game conference season, their statistics, and you look at their last 5, and you look at those stats, which I'm big on. I mean, everybody on the floor, 1 through 5, is shooting 33% or better from 3. And you have to acknowledge that with all 5 of your players. You know, my 5 players have to acknowledge Bostic will step out and stretch you now. 24, she's electric, man. She's special, you know, and all those guards are. I mean, I can go down the list. There's not enough time in today's presser to do it, but they're all just really, really good, and they're good in their system. You know, again, I think you have to acknowledge their staff and what a great job they do. And so we've got to be on point defensively. We've got to clean some things up, and then on offense, we've got to continue to be in attack mode. You know, we've got to do what we do and do it well. And so you know, we had 10 turnovers last night, and of course that's our goal, 10 or less. But again, when we watch film today and you watch them, like, they're all unforced. Like, they're just, we don't need to be throwing the ball to the other team. You know, we're a good shooting team. We need those shots. So, again, I think when you look at Illinois, you're looking at a really good basketball team. And again, it's not like they're playing bad. To me, they've been playing really well. They've just played some really good teams, and they've run out of time. That's how I look at it, you know.
Lindsay Plotkin, Longhorns on SI. Coach, I asked Jordan and Bree about the veteran leadership, but what have you seen from the freshmen going into the NCAA tournament, and what have they been able to learn from the veterans?
You know, again, I think it's all a learning process. Sometimes when you're young, you know, you don't, when you're young, you don't really know what's out there, and sometimes that's a good thing. But you know, again, our crowd was so special last night, and I want to say thank you to everybody that came out last night for a late ball game. It was really electric in our building, and And so, I think they understand the magnitude of things. I really coached Jordan and Bree a lot last night on some things that they need to clean up and do better. But, with those two, it's not like they're not trying, and it's not like they're not playing hard. Those two play really hard. I thought Bree was really good in transition. Bree knows she's got to get back. That's her one job as a point guard, is to be back, and she failed on that a couple of times. But, again, to me, that's an easy correct. Again, Jordan brings so much to the floor, both offensively and defensively. It's good to see her seeing that three ball going in, because I know how much time she spent on it. She's been working really hard the last week, getting in the gym, getting up a bunch of shots. So I know she's investing in her craft and playing and shooting the ball with a lot of confidence and practice, so which obviously we need.
Coach Sam Ferris from Fansided. Shay Holly's been here since you got here, and this is going to be her final home game. Can you talk about her impact on the program and just what she's meant to your time here as well?
Yeah, it's it's hard to put into words the value that Shay Holly has brought to our program here at Texas during my 5 years. It's going to be weird walking out on the floor next year and Shay Holly ain't going to be there. And I'm trying to keep her there by trying to hire her, because I think she has so much to add to our program from a coaching perspective. But the kid has stayed in the picture early in her career, worked really hard on her game, and has become – I just don't know that you can put a value on her because she's done so much for us here. And one of the things she's been is reliable and durable. I mean, when you talk about college athletics, if you can say somebody's durable, she's never missed a practice, obviously never missed a game. She's just been as solid as any kid I've ever coached at being reliable and durable. And, what she brings as a teammate, consistency every day in practice, never had a bad day, never had a frown, always has a smile. I can tell you, coaches across the country, we tend to, appreciate kids like that. And, they're just not everybody's like that. And so I have a great appreciation for Shay Holly, and good night. We've won a lot of games with her.
Next question, Coach, will come from Danny Davis of the Austin American-Statesman. Danny?
Vic, when you look at Kendall Bostic, what makes her so effective with her rebounding, and how much of a challenge is that for y'all who are really good at offensive rebounding?
She's polished, number one. She has really good hands. Obviously, she can face up from three-point in, so she can face and score. She's not just a drop-step dunk player. The kid plays really hard. That's why she gets the rebound she gets. She's physical. When I watch film and watch her last night, you can see how physical and how strong the kid is. And so, again, I think it makes her unique. She's not only a power player, but she can step out and face. She can pick and pop. And so it stretches you, and she's not just a pick and roller, and so our five players are going to have to really be aware of when she's involved in ball screen action, where's she going and what's she doing, as well as the rest of our team.
Corey Mose, KVU Sports. Coaches in the locker room talking to some of the girls, they mentioned how last night they didn't play up to their potential, knowing that there's still room for improvement. What's it like just having a squad that's player-led in that way, knowing that, they can improve, but also that responsibility to acknowledge where they fall short?
It's what I love about them. Again, it's maturity. I talked to them today in film about most of them put on their sheets. You know, y'all know that cover us. I give them a sheet after a game, and it pros and cons of their individual play, pros and cons of our team play. There's 5 or 6 things they can write on each one. That doesn't mean they write down 5 or 6 things on each one, but we do that right after a game. And almost everyone wrote on their focus. And, you know, I ask them in film, I go, you got to be kidding me. We're in the NCAA tournament, and we have a focus problem. And so for me, as the coach grading papers last night at 1 in the morning, I take that as I didn't have them ready. Now, they told me in film, Coach, you had us ready. But if we're not focused, if we're not laser focused when we step onto the court, like, to me, that's, you know, I accept that responsibility. Y'all know I'm an accountable guy. These kids are 18 to 22. They got so many things going on, and I try to take as much of the heat off of them as I can. But, you know, again, I think that's them understanding that we're better and we need to be better. Even on March 23rd in the NCAA tournament, they realize we're not satisfied and we've got to improve, and we got to go out today at practice and get better. And I think that's where my teams always are at this time of year, Corey. I think they always acknowledge that. They always want to get better, and they always work to get better no matter what time of the year it is, whether it's September and it's your first practice, or it's October or March 23rd and it's a practice in the NCAA tournament.
We have a few minutes left with our time with Coach Schaefer, so just a final reminder, if you're joining us on Zoom and you wish to ask a question, please use the raised hand function now, and if not, we're going to return to questions here in Austin. Sir.
Coach Joey Wagner, Illini Inquirer. You mentioned Calamity in your opening statement. She spent some time with you. What makes her a good assistant coach?
You know, I think the thing that really, excuse me, I think the thing that really impressed me about Calamity was just her thoroughness. You know, when she was at work, she was involved in so many things, recruiting, excuse me. And I think that she's really invested in what you're trying to do, no matter what you need her to do. And, you know, she's somebody that, to me, she's been around greatness. You know, she's worked with Coach Summit and been at Tennessee in their heyday, been around Coach Harston, and she just knows what it looks like to be a pro. And I think she's a pro. You know, I think she cares deeply about your kids. She cares deeply about what you're trying to get done as a head coach. She wants to be on that page with you in whatever your focus is. But I think that she brings so much to the table. I think that's why Shauna, you know, wanted her back as an associate head coach, because she knows she can fill so many roles. And trust me, in today's world, especially as a head coach, you know, those people are, you know, few and far between. That's why I'm so grateful to have Elena. You know, Elena's been a head coach. She's won 2 national championships as a head coach. Elena can run this team, this program, if I'm not here, and she knows how to do it. And she fills so many roles and does so much, including mentoring, you know, my other assistant coaches, which is, you know, Blair's been really fortunate to be around Elena for a lot, both as a player and now as an assistant. She sees what it takes in all facets, including recruiting. I mean, recruiting at our level, Illinois' level, man, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and you better have some dogs in your office. And I think that's, again, I think that's where we as head coaches, Shauna, myself, we feel really blessed with our staffs because they really do the job that's necessary to be successful. Let's face it, Illinois got it right. They got a great staff. They understand what it takes, and you know, they're doing it. They're getting it done. And I think you have to, you know, acknowledge that. They've got some good young players. They've got some older players, but they continue to recruit well. And again, I think you have to give it to not only the head coach, but the people she chooses to hire and put around her. And, you know, I've say it all the time. I'm smart enough to know I can't do it by myself. I think Shauna probably feels the same way.
We have time for one final question, and that will come from Jim Vertuno of the Associated Press. Jim?
Vic, you talked about Bostic's versatility and her strength that makes her a difficult matchup, but she's now facing the prospect of facing your rotation of Taylor and Kyla for 40 minutes. And just how can that work to your advantage as a fatigue factor after she basically plays almost the entire game every night?
Well, you know, I mean, again, I think this time of year you've got, you know, kids understand it's win or go home. And so I think, you know, their kids will have that mentality, and our kids know that we've got to be as clean as we can be as well. But obviously I like our depth both at guard and post at 5. And, you know, I think the versatility of our lineups too can create some issues for people. So, you know, we'll continue to play Taylor and Kai, and you know, you never know when you'll see them together, and so, but those two, you know, those two are really special, and that's what makes this team, y'all, so special, and it's what makes them have an opportunity to do something really unique and special. So that's where we are right now, and we got to go out today and really have a good practice. We got to really do a much better job with some things, clean some things up, so we can have a chance at playing a really good Illinois team tomorrow. Appreciate everybody being here. Again, thanks for your coverage of women's basketball. Appreciate you Illinois folks being here and covering your team. You got a hell of a team to cover. Praise the Lord and hook 'em horns.
Thanks so much, Coach, for your time this afternoon. Second round press conferences with the University of Texas. We'll be joined in about 11 minutes with University of Illinois student athletes, and then they will be followed to the podium by head coach a reminder, everyone, that the locker room for Texas is closed. However, there will be open locker room media availability for Illinois, and that will be from 2:15 to 2:45. 2:15 to 2:45 if you wish to go into the Illinois locker room. We want to welcome everyone back to today's NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship second round pregame press conference from Austin, Texas. This press conference will feature number 8 seed University of Illinois as Illinois advanced to the second round with a 66-57 victory over Creighton last night. They will carry a 22-9 record into the second round game tomorrow and face number 1 seed University of Texas, and that game will be at 1 p.m. Central here at the Moody Center in Austin. The format for today's press conference will be, we will hear from the student athletes first for 15 minutes, and then after they're dismissed, we will then hear from Illinois head coach Shauna Green. The players joining us from Illinois will be freshman forward Barry Wallace and senior forward Bryn Shoop Hill. They will be joining us in the next few minutes. So for those of you that are joining us online, thank you as well. If you do have a question, please use the raised hand function to ask it and you'll be called upon. Thank you. Please stand by. Oh, here we go. Look at that, right on time. Hello, ladies. Welcome. Right on time. That's outstanding. Outstanding. All right, we're going to welcome everyone back to today's second round pregame press conference from Austin, Texas. We are featuring number 8 seed Illinois. Right now, joining us on the podium will be student athletes, freshman forward Barry Wallace and senior forward Bryn Shoop Hill. Ladies, congratulations again on the win last night, and we're going to take some questions from the media here in Austin, Texas. First question is going to come from Danny Davis, and he is with the Austin American-Statesman.
Both Bryn and Barry. When you watched Texas last night, when you've seen the film, just what kind of stands out about them aside from them being a number 1 seed?
I mean, for me, what I took is just their size, athleticism, and how intense they are on defense. I think that's something that we can also relate to and something that we have to prepare for. But yeah, overall, they are just in every position. They're super tall, super athletic, so it's definitely something we have to watch out for in our game.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, just like their defense, and they're playing really hard. The whole game, they have a lot of good players. So just knowing that we have to come out and be aggressive and match their physicality and just match their energy on the court. So just being prepared for that.
Other questions here? Sam? No? We're going to go back to Danny Davis of the Austin American-Statesman then. Danny?
How much did playing in the Big Ten prepare y'all for the NCAA tournament and playing a team like Texas?
I think just having that good competition every single game definitely prepared us. Some of the top teams in our league, I think, kind of match up or are similar in some ways with Texas. So I think that's definitely good preparation for us.
Yeah, I think it was super good just playing in the Big Ten. I think we even saw it last night, just like knowing that we play in a really good conference and there's a lot of good players. So we're meant to just match up with these teams that we're going to be playing against. And I agree, like a lot of teams are similar. There's one of every kind of team in the Big Ten. So just knowing that we're ready and prepared to play anyone that we see in the tournament.
Yep.
Barry, Texas has a couple of good freshmen who are contributors and play. They got their first NCAA tournament experience last night. What was that like for you to get your first NCAA tournament, make that debut, and kind of get to play on a big stage as a freshman?
Yeah, it was super exciting. Obviously, just like really high energy. It was just cool to get to play even on this court too, and with a bunch of fans watching us. So it was just really fun. I was glad that we were able to get to win, and just excited to keep playing more competition and against better teams.
You all set, Danny, with your questions? All right. Once again, I don't see any raised hands functions from anyone joining us on Zoom. So, ladies, I think we'll say congratulations again to you. Thank you for coming up and answering a few questions, and best of luck to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, we'll be joined by Illinois head coach Shauna Green in a few moments, and a reminder that the locker room is open. For media availability, the Illinois locker room is open until 2:45. We'd like to welcome everyone back to today's NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship second round pregame press conference from Moody Center here in Austin, Texas. A few minutes ago, we heard from the number 8 seed Illinois student athletes, and in a few moments, we'll be joined on the podium by Illinois head coach Shauna Green. Illinois advanced to the second round with a 66-57 victory over number 9 seed Creighton last night, and they carry a 22-9 record into tomorrow's second round game, where they will face number 1 seed University of Texas at 1 p.m. Central. Again, for those of you that are joining us on Zoom, please use the raised hand function if you wish to ask a question. We'll be joined by Coach Green momentarily. Good. Folks, we are happy to welcome back to the podium Illinois head coach Shauna Green. Coach, good to see you again today. And if you could just open with this statement, and then we'll take questions from everyone here.
Yeah, no, we're super excited to see you guys again and to be back here. And, you know, really great win for our program last night against a really good Creighton team. You know, I know we've said it last night, but have not won a tournament game in 25 years for this program. So this is a really big step for us. And, you know, now we have a really tough task of playing, you know, a really, really good Texas team on their home court. But that's what the NCAA tournament's about. So, you know, we had one day of prep and, you know, feel good about where we're at. And now it's about just going out there and competing and leaving everything you got on the court tomorrow.
All right, we'll take questions from the media here in Austin again. Just please state your name and affiliation.
Shauna, Joey Wagner, Illini Inquirer. This is your third game in a month against a number 1 seed in the tournament on their home floor. So, like, what have you guys learned from those first 2 experiences that you hope can carry into tomorrow?
Yeah, that's what we told our team, you know, just in our film session back at the hotel, is that, you know, we just played UCLA and USC, you know, a couple weeks ago on their home court and had opportunities in those games. And I think that we can learn a lot from that. Texas is going to be similar. I said this is kind of, think USC, UCLA in terms of physicality, length, athleticism. So I think that that's a real good prep for us. Obviously, Texas is Texas, and they're, you know, they bring a little bit different elements and challenges as opposed to those teams, but same type of feel. And you're going to have to come in and you got to play. Obviously, you got to match their physicality. We got to really take care of the basketball against them. And you got to play with a great deal of toughness if you want to have a chance to, you know, be in the game in that last battle that we always talk about, have a chance to win.
Coach, Sam from Fansided. Yesterday you said y'all have been the underdogs really all year. With all the hype around Texas being in Austin, how do you make sure that doesn't weigh too much on your players?
Yeah, I don't think these guys are a veteran group. They know we're locked into, again, to what we want to do, and you know, we know the challenges that we have. We've been like the same thing going out to LA and having to face those 2 schools. You know, obviously they're top 5 programs. You know, no one in the Big Ten went out and did that trip and won. So we've been there. We understand it. It's going to be hard, but every game you play in the NCAA tournament is really, really hard. And you know, that's the thing. Like in the women's side, it's really, really hard to get to the Sweet 16 on our side, especially if you're not the hosting team. So obviously you got to give credit to those teams that are hosting because you do your work in the regular season. But I think you would see a little bit more parity and maybe some more upsets if we went to, you know, like the men and went to neutral sites.
Danny Davis, the Austin American Statesman. Shauna, I'm not going to ask you to compare the players, but you've played Juju, you've played Lauren. Mm-hmm. Why do you think Madison Booker, from what you've seen on film, belongs in that class, that first-team All-American class?
Yeah, you know, I hadn't watched her as much as even just, you know, watching her last night live and then watching her on film. And, you know, I know obviously my assistant, Coach Mack, has, you know, coached at Texas and has bring a lot of her experience and of with their overall team of what we're going to expect. And then obviously just seeing them last night and seeing like a player like herself, you know, she's on another level. She's up there with all of them. Her size, her just smooth, her ability, her mid-range game. Her athleticism, she can do so many different things on the court, and we'll be undersized against her, who we put on her. So it's going to be a really hard guard for us. But yeah, she's a little bit different in my mind than like a Juju or some of them, but she's obviously an elite player and deserving of being that first team All-American.
Danny, do you have a follow-up question for right now? You're good. All right, we're going to go to Jim Fortuna from the Associated Press. Jim?
Coach, what kind of challenge do you face with the Taylor Jones, Kyla Holdaker rotation they have, and the physical nature of that lineup?
Yeah, that's one thing I think that you see right away from them. Obviously, their size is imposing, but they're so physical, and that's something. Again, I think a couple weeks ago having to guard Lauren Betts, having to guard a Kiki. Similar, where Betts is really, she's physical. She's gonna try to bury you and get those elbows up and fly around in there too. So I think that's gonna help prepare these guys of what it feels like. But the thing about Texas is, yes, they have multiple. Jones goes out, you bring Oldaker in, and Oldaker, we recruited her when I was at Dayton. I mean, it feels like 20 years ago. Like, isn't she out of eligibility yet? But she's just a great player who's played really well here. And Jones is just their size alone. But I did tell our kids, like, you think you got fouled yesterday and you thought yesterday was a physical game? You have no idea. We gotta ramp up and be able to match that, be ready for it, and not let it affect us, because this team is physical. They're tough. They're gonna get into you, and you're gonna get fouled, and they're not gonna call it, and that's okay. We got to continue to be mentally tough and physically tough.
Shauna Green from the Champaign News-Gazette. Just KB and the matchup she's faced in the Big Ten. Just how much do you feel like that's helps her in this matchup on Monday, and what is it about her that she's able to have the success that she's had against some of the bigs in the Big Ten?
Yeah, I think that obviously the experience she's had throughout her years here of having to guard, she hasn't grown, right? So she's always been 6'1", so she's used to having to play 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". And the thing I love about KB is how much she's grown as a defensive player in her time here. I mean, you guys remember her first year with us. She was getting fouls left and right. She, getting frustrated with some of that. She's so poised now, and she understands, how to wall up. She understands how to do her work early, how to hit them high, keep them high. She understands angles. She understands how to utilize, her disadvantage of lack of size to her advantage with her quickness and just her mind. So Betts, Markowski, Kiki, I mean, go down the line, Sarah Williams of great elite bigs in the Big Ten. She's felt and faced players. I'm not going to say they're exactly the same, but she's had experience with bigs.
Jim Fortuna of the Associated Press. Vic was talking about how tough he thought your team was. Obviously, this could be a real grind. You obviously like the mental aspect of what your team can bring to this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I'm glad he said that, because that's what we want. That's the culture. That's what we want. We want to be tough. We want to be blue collar. We want to just be one of those teams that's gonna outwork you and be disciplined in the fundamentals. And the mindset of just coming and we may be short, we may not be as tall as everyone else, but that's okay. We're gonna work really, really hard. We're gonna do the little things and the details really, really well. We're gonna be disciplined in everything. We're gonna play really, really hard together and united. And I think that's what's made us good this year and the last couple years is. Again, we don't have the athleticism and the length of some of these teams that we faced, and sure also don't have it like Texas does. So we look like we walk out there, Jen's 5'6" and KB 6'1", and they're all 6 feet and up. So it's okay though.
Shauna Joey Wagner, Illini Inquirer. Did you sense it all last night, just like a pressure relief from your team to get that first one here, and just I don't know, for relaxation or anything like that?
That's a good question, Joey. And I really didn't sense that they even had that pressure. I probably had more that I felt. It was probably more of relief for me. But I personally didn't think that. I thought they handled it really well. I really do. I thought they handled the 2 weeks, the lead up, coming out of the Big Ten tournament. I thought they handled the prep well. I thought they handled even when, they went on some runs. I didn't sense pressure. I sense anticipation of playing and being excited to have the opportunity to win. I think we were really confident. We believed we could win that game coming in. So yeah, I also think though tomorrow, I think like we all know everyone expects Texas to win, right? So we are the underdog. Everyone's going to, all the pressure is on them. We have zero pressure. We can just go out there and play. Obviously, we're competitors and we put pressure on ourselves because we want to be elite and we want to be great. But yeah, all the pressure's on them right now.
We'll go back to a question from Danny Davis from the Austin American-Statesman. Danny?
Obviously, Calamity has a relationship with Vic. But I'm wondering, have your paths ever crossed? Do you know him at all, aside from coaching against him tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't know Vic, personally. Obviously, recruiting trail, and when I called him to talk to tell him, ask him if I could talk to Calamity about coming to Illinois. But yeah, I don't know him, but I have a ton of respect for him and what he's done everywhere he's been. He's one of the best coaches out there, and what he's done here at Texas, what he did at Mississippi State. I mean, everything what he does. I'm a defensive-minded coach. I love, his defensive mindset. His teams are tough. They're physical. What he has done is what we're trying to build, our program to be, with consistency and be able to get those, high-level kids to be able to compete for, obviously, conference championships and national championships.
Jim Vertuno, Associated Press.
Are you okay with the early afternoon tip-off time, and what time will you have to start things in the morning?
Yeah, I'm great with it. I love it. I think I got the text from our ops person last night at like 1 a.m, and she's like, "We're playing at 1." I was shocked. I thought it for sure be a 6:15 or 7 o'clock game. I think that's, if I was Vic, I would not be happy with it. I'm sure he's not happy with it because at home you'd want to play later, so your place is full, right? And I'm sure we're going to get an unbelievable crowd anyways, which this atmosphere last night was unbelievable, even our game. But, how they do stuff here and this arena and this setting, I was really impressed with for their game and for our game. But, 1 o'clock's fine. I hate waiting around. Our players, you don't like to wait around. Let's wake up. Let's have pregame. We'll walk through, and then we'll get to it. And we're not taking I think they gave us a 6 a.m. option to shoot around. We have 6 players. I said, I don't want to tell you what I really said, but no, we're not taking it.
With Jasmine, she had that big 3 last night, and she's kind of done a little bit of this and that. How do you look at what she's been able to add to you guys this season?
She's been huge, and talk about a tough kid. She's battling through, has battled through a lot of different, nagging injuries, and obviously now with the hamstring and, literally kind of playing on one leg and hadn't practiced really coming into this game, practiced a couple days full. So toughness is Jasmine, right? And whatever she needs to do for us to impact winning, she's willing to do. And that's what I love about her. Last night even going in, like, if she can just play unbelievable defense, I don't even really, care if she scores. Now, that was a big-time 3 she took in a big-time moment, but I thought her defense was elite. I thought she changed, especially against a team like Creighton. We're going to need her tomorrow defensively. And again, I'm just really, it's just when you have kids like that are willing to put it on the line and play through some injuries is what you love to see as a coach.
We have time for one final question. Go ahead.
Shauna Green from the Champaign News-Gazette. I remember you talking about before the tournament, just Barry Wallace and the experience that she was going to get in this tournament. Just that first game from her and maybe the moment not being too big for her. What did you kind of see from that game and what can benefit her down the road?
Yeah, she doesn't look like a freshman. She hasn't looked like a freshman all year, really. She was poised. She was aggressive. Everything she's really been to us all year. And we know what she's capable of doing. Got her in a lot of action that we wanted. We were really intentional with that because we knew we could have some advantages and mismatches in certain positions with her. She made some big-time plays, big-time shots. Obviously, the one that everyone remembers is the offensive rebound off the free throw. it's just that's a veteran play, right? But she's well beyond her years in terms of her IQ, in terms of how she sees the game. She's just I don't have enough time to sit up here and say what she's done this year and how much she's just blown we knew she was going to be an elite player, like that. But it's hard. It's hard to come in as a freshman and to be able to perform at the level she's performed is absolutely amazing.
Coach Green, we want to really thank you and appreciate your time today with us, and the best of luck to you and your team tomorrow afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.